Hello everyone, welcome. I'm going to play some chimes for a few minutes as we filter in. I have a quiet fan going because it feels like 100 degrees in my house. Is the sound okay with that on? Megan, darling, you're here. Hello, welcome. Great, thank you for that confirmation. Hello. So as you're arriving, I invite you to start grounding, finding a good quiet seat within yourself, comfortable, strong spine. Make sure all of my sound things are in places they should be. Just start to imagine yourself rooted in your own protected bubble of light. We're dropping into the sacred here together tonight. Hello and welcome, beautiful souls. Thank you for bringing your love, your open hearts, your open minds. Thank you for showing up so bright and shiny and having prepared yourself for this great transition we're stepping into. Blessings, blessings, everyone. Let's take a moment to feel our bodies, to feel the place where we are, the moment in time, the juncture in our lives. Come in, open, and whatever has happened today, you can just let it drop. Within this bubble, we are perfectly held by spirit, by each other, by our own souls. And in this bubble of ritual time, as we circle up here in our most sacred selves, we don't need to worry about anything. We don't need to effort at anything. As my teacher always says, there's nowhere to be, there's nothing to do, there's no one to become. So today, we're gathered together for a few reasons. First, it is a powerful bridge day. We have just made it past the big, powerful, dreamy, trippy full moon in Pisces. We're at that transition point between seasons, and there's an energetic portal that always opens at this point in the year that will go exact tomorrow, the equinox. This year, as we've been talking about on this channel for a couple of months now, this equinox is also signaling the opening of a new season, what Spirit has been calling the sacred road. This 4-month-ish stretch that we're entering into is a period of great change, shifting, upheaval, purging that's moving through the collective. Part of what's happening in conjunction with this is that the Earth's energetic grid has been going through really rapid changes and upgrades, and we're about to sort of click on a new group of systems. We've been feeling these big shifts in our bodies. We've been noticing them around us in our lives. Sometimes it seems like the world around us has lost its mind. All we need to do is keep our attention within our immediate sphere to what feels aligned. Where does the energy want to go? And for this next hour, we're going to direct that energy inward and into that relationship with your own soul, that single drop of the infinite all that is. You're all blossoming in new ways. You're all feeling the call. And tools are already there for you. It's just about bringing your awareness into contact. So in a moment, I'm going to bring in Spirit, and we'll receive whatever are the energies and messages that want to come through in that. And then we will talk. We will have Q&A. And I have a fun announcement at the end. Some of you may have witnessed the video I just dropped, but we will get to that later. So, let's really ground ourselves, remembering we're about to bring in big energy, and just continue to bring your awareness back to your grounding if you start to feel buzzy or effervescent up in the head, up in the upper body. Just bring it back down, breathe it through. And I want to invite everyone to drop a taproot, big, thick root of light, down into the earth, into its energetic body. And as we've done before, start to just breathe the light through the crown, down the central column, and out that taproot. And drawing fresh light back up, allowing the cycle to move forward. And just continue rooting and breathing as we bring the messages in from Spirit. I'm so honored that you're all here. Thank you for being here. We are one. Blessings, blessings, blessings to all of you here in the now moment, circled up in the eternal now. We are honored by your presence, by your willingness to show up, by the way each of you is opening your lives. For know that you are opening your lives to yourselves, to your own divinity, to the brightest, most beautiful, most easeful light that may shine through you. You are opening to your natural way of being. You are opening to your truth. And there is nothing more valuable, nothing that will guide you towards joy and alignment more cleanly than connecting and dedicating yourself to your truth. This is a subject, this is a word that is flying around with many shapes and meanings on the earth plane right now. It is difficult in that truth has become confused with desire or passing reality. Truth is unshakable. Returning to the truth is to return to your divinity, or the perspective one may hold when connected, when always knowing you are one. If you are concerned about the truth outside of you, draw your attention inward towards the truth inside. This reality is a fractal. Every part of it mirrors the others. Every part is a whole. You are a whole. You contain all of existence. This is not a metaphor. We mean this literally. So tend yourself, tend your life, get real with your truths. Stop hiding from them, they will not hurt you. Stop hiding from them, they are not as frightening as they seem. When you embrace them, when you allow them to unfold as their true selves, luminous, easeful, designed for you, that is when the fun begins. That is when acceptance, wholeness, and community flow. Many of you had made the choice to make yourselves smaller, to hide, to paint over, to cut corners, or to simply not fully speak up, in hopes that it will make you feel loved, safe, steady, good. The tricky part of this is that you cannot attain any of those things fully without being in your full truth. You who are here, you who are listening, you who are resonating, you are designed in a particular way. Yes, you are human like everyone else, and also there are ways in which you do not have access to the full human range of choice. It is intolerable to you to remain out of alignment awareness, to remain in the perception that you are disconnected from spirit, from your own divinity. You can only tolerate this for so long before it drives you crazy, angry, or physically ill. This is not true for all people on the earth plane. Their souls are playing a different game. Please do not see this as a restriction, for in fact it is in this that you are liberated. You are free. You have the ultimate permission to be you, 100% fully, strange, beautiful, unfolding in unexpected ways, sometimes seeming contradictory. It is not that you are a walking paradox. It is that the earth plane is only able to perceive parts of you at a time. And for most of you, you are only able to see parts of you at a time, and that is shifting. The reality you are in is shifting. It is not simply you on the inside or simply that which is outside. You are bouncing off of each other, back and forth and back and forth. There is little to be gained in trying to isolate genesis points, in trying to determine the how or why something did happen the way it did. What is in the past no longer exists. Only your now only the present, only the desires and joys that are right in front of you are the truth to follow. For remember, as the old paradigm is shifting around us, our own alignments, that which draws us, the places where spirit is bubbling up energy may shift as well. Some of you have had the experience where something feels fully aligned. You may feel excited, bursting, supported in it. And from one day to the next, it seems to shift. Or you have this happen in a relationship. And so often your reaction is to think that you made a mistake, you misjudged, your senses were off. It is understandable to go to that way of thinking. But we invite you to leave that at the side now. To begin to think multidimensionally. To remember that what is aligned in the moment, what is a physical yes, is a yes until it is a no. And that is a sign that reality is shifting, or you are shifting, or better options that were not available previously have now opened up. You have all been raised in a reality where looking to the past to help determine the future is the normal way of things. You are also noticing this no longer seems to serve in the same way, as you are now in the most uncharted waters. The past that you moved through, that your memory holds, the past that you were, quote, raised to move through into a particular future, these have all been scrambled. These are not helpful anymore. The true guide now is inside. Though it has been challenging at times, the structures that were holding you in place, that made it easy to believe the conditioning, that made it easy to not choose yourself, they are being pulled away little by little, crumbling, evaporating, leaving you and your sovereign self open, free, with greater space to move. Some of you are feeling confused by this idea, feeling perhaps more restricted in your day-to-day life because of what is happening in your reality. This is an illusion. Please begin to drop into the truth that there is greater potential, flexibility, there's greater freedom. The energy is flowing like a gushing river on your planet. All you need is to connect your ego to that reality. Go inward. Connect with the truth of you. Connect with what you actually want moment to moment. For the big things, draw your attention easily. That which is out of alignment in a very obvious way gets your attention and gets addressed usually. It's the smaller things, the little energy leaks, the things you're tolerating because it seems easier. Those are the ones that will drain you dry. Those are the ones that are nagging, that need your attention now. Look at the little tweaks in your routine. Look at who are the people you're holding space for or keeping in your life out of obligation. Release that which is no longer for you, because in releasing yourself, you are also releasing that other person or that situation into its own higher alignment. It is not your business to try and judge what the general movement of things should be for another person. All you can do is look at your own alignment and flow. Beginning tomorrow, the energies will increase every day for the next month. You will notice that a day feels like a week. You will notice that you are leveling up at a rate you have not known before. This will be exciting at times. This may be difficult for those around you to hold. Receive that with whatever compassion can come to you in that moment. It is not your obligation to fix or to soothe. Simply continue to shine your light. the truth and clarity of that will become obvious to those around you when they are able to receive it, when they are ready. It is your job to know. It is your job to remain steadily moving towards yourself. Everything else will organize itself around that. And in doing that, your light will shine more brightly, more freely. You will find a greater ease and abundance flowing in your life. And the earth plane itself will enter into a state of greater support. There are many of you who feel urgent to step into your purpose work, partly because the earth is hungry for you as well. Stepping into your purpose work does not have to be a dramatic opening of business. It can be a shifting in how the intentionality of your day moves. It can be starting to take one step in a certain direction of exploration every day, even if it is the tiniest step. You are weaving that new tapestry. Please let go of the idea that to change the world, you must move through giant sweeping actions. Truly, what is needed is each one of you to root deeply in the minutiae of your lives, to fully saturate those places, to be in your steadiness and joy. And through that, we will guide you into greater community. We will guide you into those places of opportunity, of connection, of the next steps of your own work. Surrender as if you're floating down a river, because we are ready to take you there if you will not swim against the current. Some of you feel anxious, perhaps uncertain that you are able to surrender, and know that that is a part of the work too. Notice it, reflect on it, know that eventually you will probably help someone else move through that sort of experience as well, which means you are exactly on schedule. Through the month of October, there will be many heartbreaking things to witness on the earth plane. There will be points where some of you feel truly lost. There will be points where it seems humanity cannot return from the darkness. We are telling you now, and will continue to repeat, that this is simply old energy leaving. It is being re-experienced, remodeled in front of us. Allow it to move without judgment, if at all possible. Witness the experience people are moving through. Allow their anger and fear to be a part of their process. Allow it to move so that it doesn't get stuck and continue to fester. For if it can move through, space opens up, and the capacity to hold the potential for a different reality and a different way of relating then moves in. Don't attach. You are midwives these next 4 months. You are anchoring the light. You are deepening into yourselves. You are letting go of the old ways and opening up a space for the new to come in. We call you now, all who are feeling ready to receive activation, to reconnect with your grounding, your roots. We invite you to envision yourself simply an open channel, a column, a vessel open at the top and the bottom, ready to receive an influx of powerful light. You will receive not only the specific light to your collective, each of you will receive the codes that are meant for you at this juncture, coming from your dimension of origin, your team of guiding spirits. Over the next few minutes, they will come in quite close, and some of you will become palpably aware of them. All of you are deepening with yourselves, your spirit families, the origins of yourself. Some of you are more aware of it in your sleep space. And right now, these codes coming in will not only support this ongoing process, but are going to allow a different flow of your own special light onto the earth plane, supporting a more easeful transition for you individually. Take 3 deep cleansing breaths down into the belly and expel forcefully out of the mouth. Very good. Take a few slow, deep breaths. Imagine you're drawing these frequencies further out into the extremities, washing through all levels of your energetic being. Some of you may feel a little tension in the third eye or the crown. We invite you to relax them open. They've experienced a big influx. Even lightly massage with the fingertips, knowing that healing light naturally emits from them, effortlessly enters. And reconnect with your roots. Very good. Some of you are now becoming much more aware of the intuitions you've been receiving, how clearly you are being guided, how sometimes you have the habit of swatting away that particular voice. Listen for a moment to the truth of your heart speaking right now. For many of you, the truth of your heart is a certain tiredness with the shape of your life right now. Notice that. Each of you is ready for the next chapter. Each of you has been preparing to turn the page. And now we welcome you to your next chapter in this sacred life. And with that, we are one. Okay. Gotta say, guys, there was a moment there I thought I might throw up during that activation. How's everyone doing? I'm gonna check in here. Let's see. Well, thanks for all the gifts and the love. Good greetings, everyone. Yes, I will put this up on YouTube later. Oops. Okay. So, this is definitely, I'm feeling it already. I myself will be rewatching this. I'll try and get this up online on YouTube in its entirety pretty quickly. That feels like an activation that'll be good to kind of roll through a few times and just sort of tune it through and return to those teachings. The thing about channeling is that there's the words that are spoken, which are meant for the ego really, and then there's everything underneath that, the energetic transmissions. And so re-listening to videos of channeling allows you to tap into those energetic portals, sometimes getting a deeper download of what was transmitted the first time, and sometimes you're just using it as a gateway. And for those of you who are trying to deepen in your channeling gifts, that's a great way to work with that, is to watch different, well-vetted, good, clean channels and to be a part of their portal opening over and over. I'm glad that you guys seem to have some good third eye activation happening. Some heartbeat response. Yeah. Nobody should feel bad about feeling sick or anything. That's the thing with these big energies in general. Not just in activation, but as we're moving through these next few months, our bodies respond in all kinds of ways, and those ways shift with time too. So just think of how the body responds with overwhelming emotion. All of those options are available to our bodies for moving big energy. I'm so glad that this activation energy served y'all. So as we're kind of coming back and regrounding from that activation and that time with divine consciousness, tap into your hearts and see if there are any questions that are coming up, anything around the equinox or preparation or the next few months or whatever's going on in your lives right now. I'm gonna light a little bit of sacred smoke here to sort of transition us and cleanse us off a bit. There were some big energies that were released in that process that I can feel floating around. Do I have a lighter? I have everything but a lighter. One moment, please. Okay. Blessings to you, kitchenette. Okay. So, as we're connecting with our questions and where we're at, I'm going to say a little prayer as we are moving into this equinox portal. It's open, it's happening. And we're choosing to go in consciously, with intention, with our skillfulness, with all of our tools and abilities at hand. It's like we're going into a big, undiscovered, thick, gorgeous, verdant forest. And there may be some spooky things in there. And mostly there's just a lot of discovery and difference and richness that's waiting for us to lay our sacred eyes upon it. Divine consciousness, the all that is. This is your child Kristin, coming with an open, grateful, bursting heart. Here, circled up with this beautiful community of light beings, each one bringing their own unique gifts, their light, their sparkle, their willingness and curiosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this beautiful life, for this strange trip on this odd planet at this incredibly sacred time. Thank you for the opportunity to be of such profound service. Thank you for the ability to witness what is happening around us, to be able to move through it differently, to be able to hold ourselves and hold others at the same time. Thank you for all of the lessons of this earth plane, the ways we are deepening as spirit practitioners, not just in this dimension, but across all space, time, and dimension. I want to say a special thank you for each and every one of these bright and shining ascended master souls sitting in this circle right now or watching later. Spirit, it is my hope, my dream and desire for everyone present to feel the deep support of every living thing, of every entity, of every piece of this universe. It's my prayer that we all stay connected to the truth of ourselves and our souls. It's my prayer that we are able to continue to see the divinity in every single person, especially those who frighten us, those who anger us, those who sadden us, those who disappoint us. May we remain always connected to our humanity and our divinity simultaneously. May we be the bridging between heaven and earth. May we be supported in living our own bright and shining light in the world so that others may see that shining and feel safe, may feel the permission to shine their own light. And in this, we illuminate the planet. Divine consciousness, all that is, wondrous universal field. It is my prayer that we unfold, that we blossom, that we learn to skillfully surf these turbulent waters that surround us, that it become a place of joyful play, of skillful mastery. Please allow us to hold the entirety of the human experience, from the depths to the heights, to not get lost in it, but to witness, to play with. May we hold compassion for all. May we succumb to obligation to none. May every day we awaken in our sovereign selves, rooted in our lives, feeling our strength, knowing that we are free. Remembering that no matter what our lives may look like moment to moment, we are the lights of freedom shining. We are the beacons, the lighthouses. And in being these beautiful vessels of joyous service, may we each know great support, abundance, clarity, synchronicity, and opportunity. May we easily settle into the truth that we are not here to struggle. We are here to have so much that we have enough for ourselves and enough to give others in various forms. May all of the energies that are clearing now around and through us directly make space for the joy that is our birthright. May we remember, may we remember, may we remember. May the joy of our lives, may the work that we do be of service to all beings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen. Wow. Y'all are pretty powerful. I really felt that portal just amplify. Oh, it's so fun being in prayer and ritual with you all. Okay. If you feel like crying, please let it flow. Let all the feelings flow, y'all. Okay, questions. Any tips for ritual tomorrow? So tomorrow is really about nature and beauty. So anything that makes you feel excited about the season you're stepping into, whether that be autumn in the north or spring in the south, go towards those symbols. Give your ego that satisfaction of like the clear, triumphant announcing of the season change. That's going to help you really root into the fun that can happen with whatever is coming in the next few months. It's tying you to the earth, which is going to keep you flushing energy through. You want to anchor into the earth's energetic body. You don't want to be tuning into the human collective. Everything you need to know will come. You don't need to go looking for it. So anything around baking, harvest, food, we just passed the harvest moon, nourishment. I'm going to spend the day tending altars I already have in the house and setting up new ones, little altars everywhere. And I'm also going to set up my ofrenda, my Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead altar. My brother passed almost 3 years ago, and so this will be sort of the culmination year of honoring his path into the other realm. So I'll build an altar, I'll bake some food. I'm probably going to do a little prep cooking, honestly. And I'm going to beautify my home, which has gotten way out of hand over the last season. So I'm going to rein it in and get ready for my cocoon season, for healer hibernation season, which will start in a few weeks. So yeah, those fun and cozy things. If you're down south, it's a great time to be out, be with the waters, be with the trees and anything fresh and bursting. But it's really an intuitive, there's no wrong way to do it. It's really, what is your way, your soul expression of being creative and rooting into the new season. Make it fun. How can we regain our sovereignty in this life? Megan, great question. There are so many ways, and it takes many different approaches through time. There are some basic steps, though. We want to work through our conditioning. We've all absorbed conditioning from our families of origin, from the reality we've grown up in, our cultures of origin. and dropping that conditioning so that what remains is the truth of you. That is the main work. There are many different paths to that. It's nice to overlap them. My personal journey was really nourished by a combination of lots of plant medicine work, working with a super skilled channel and energetic coach who helped me like physically peel off layers of energy, layer by layer, like an onion, over a few years. And then I also have the support of a really amazing somatic therapist who is trained in trauma-informed therapy, who she is very intuitive and witchy unto herself. So there's also that energetic component. But it took a long time to find my right combination, and that's why it's so nice to try out different things on our spiritual path, particularly in the beginning. But it's all about stripping down the conditioning. The conditioning is all that stands between you and your ability to be in your truth, choose from your truth, act on your truth. You are sovereign. There's no changing that. That is the truth of things. It's just about getting your ego clicked into place with that truth instead of distracted and looking at the conditioning over here. It's like, no, let's draw it over here. Nothing's over there. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yes. Cocoon puffing. I love seeing that you guys are in that. So I want to share some exciting news. And if there are more questions that come up, we'll come to this too. I just posted before this live a video on my account announcing that my Patreon is live. And some of you have seen some of the writings that were trickling in there, but I was really focused on TikTok for a while, and now I've built out the system a little bit more. And my intention is that we will have a place now where we can more concretely gather. There can be a bigger flow of information, and you'll have access to all of my writings in different ways. And there are going to be monthly circles where we gather together to start doing events like this, channeling and activations, Q&A, and also there's the opportunity for some to do deeper work with me, more focused on being in your purpose, coming together as practitioners and working together as light beings, as a collective on the planet. So I do offer one-on-one sessions. I've had sessions with some of you. It's been so much fun getting to know you all. And I invite anyone who's called to please follow my link tree, and you'll find my website and information on doing one-on-one sessions. And it's the most potent way to work with me. But for those that don't feel aligned with that rhythm of work or intensity of work, or if the price point doesn't work right now, Patreon is going to be a great option. So if you go and find that video, it'll also be flowing through your feed, I'm sure. You'll see I have 4 levels of membership starting at $18 a month, and you get all kinds of stuff for that. I'm going to be tweaking and fine-tuning and adding to the actual Patreon site over the next couple of weeks. And we already have one member, our darling Scarlet Amber is there now, our official first patron, and the first one opening up the circle for us. So I'm so excited that this is happening, and there will always be free writings on my Patreon as well. I want the information to flow, but there will be things that are more sensitive or that go into more depth that will be available at the different levels of membership. So if you're at all curious, reach out, send me an email, go check it out on the link. But yeah, it's an exciting way for us to deepen the work and to really start focusing in on what we're called to do together. I came to TikTok because I felt a community of people waiting for me. And I've had that experience as well with teachers where I encounter them or their work and I'm like, oh my God, you're here, thank goodness, I've been waiting. You know, and so sometimes we walk with those people for a short period, sometimes we stick with them for a long period of time. And my hope is that this container will be flexible enough to hold all of the different ways and all the different points people find themselves coming to this circle. I could go on and on. I'm so excited. I'm so excited, y'all. And my hope is also, like, as time goes on, to have in-person retreats and different kinds of events. And Patreon is where you're gonna get a lot more of the behind the scenes as I'm planning my big in-person tour 2022, which will take me around the US, Canada, and Mexico a bit, possibly stopping off in Southern Europe in the summer. And I'm also hosting a retreat in Peru. So there's a lot happening. I have a lot of projects that I haven't even told you all about, kind of constantly bursting with work. Yeah. All right, let's see what's happening down here in the comments. A lot of excitement, yay. Okay. Thank you on the congratulations, everyone. Yes, let's release that conditioning. It feels so good to be on the other side of it, y'all. Let me tell you. I mean, I was like deep in complex PTSD. I was not functional at a certain point. Like, it just kept declining deeper and deeper, twisting, trying to make it work. And as terrifying as it was through parts of the process and all of the purging of being burned at the stake as a witch and all of that, is so worth it. It's so awesome on the other side, y'all. Okay. Will I still be on TikTok? Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for asking. I'm not leaving TikTok. It's going to be more that my home base will be Patreon, and my teachings are hard to be able to do in 3-minute tidbits. So there's still going to be that flow. I have a second TikTok account that I opened. I don't know if everybody's seen that announcement video. It's at Condorcita, Condor C-I-T-A, which is all focused on medicine work. So I'm still here. We're just expanding and deepening. How often would you be able to do deep one-on-one work with me at the first level of membership? So one-on-one work is true one-on-one, just like an hour session happens at the top level of membership, or if we're doing private sessions, just separate from Patreon. The first level of membership is going to have this several pages, juicy newsletter, our monthly gathering like this, but longer. Videos and writings and things like that will be flowing through. So it's a great way to be a part of the community, but that isn't the level at which there's the one-on-one really focused work. The nice balance point, I think, if you want to work really in a more focused way with me at sort of a more affordable level, is the third level, what I'm calling the Star Garden, which is $54 a month, which is significant. I definitely get that. But my hope is that this serves as like a really potent community for personal growth, for blossoming. Thanks for noticing that. I'm so happy, y'all. Yeah, I mean, I feel so nourished and fulfilled whenever I'm connecting with you all. This is a big part of my purpose work, and it just lights me up, literally. I feel my whole energy flows differently. I find it sometimes difficult to get off of live because I get so into it, and then my body eventually needs to be tended, as some of you have seen. I get loopy. I'm so glad that you all have been here and have been doing the work and showing up, and I really appreciate all of the support that I've been getting from this community, and I'm really excited to start deepening and going into ritual and exploring more of what you all are working with and into. That's part of the draw to Patreon too, and moving out of TikTok, is that it's hard to have the true back and forth, obviously. And I want to be able to hear your voices and be in conversation. Sending you all so much love. Thanks for being here, Megan. So does anybody have questions for Spirit or any of the other beings I channel? Or I'm ready to translate for anyone. I've got a little bit of time that we could still explore what's going on with you all, or if there's anything that came up today in the channeling that maybe you have questions about or want clarification or expansion on, this is a great opportunity to just tap into the vast ocean of sacred information. Thanks so much for the likes and the love. How do you decide which teachers you should learn from and trust? That's a wonderful question. I've been working on a blog post about this actually. So, the ultimate is your gut. If there's something that you need to explain away or kind of paint over to make the situation okay, it's probably not a match. You want to follow your intuition because your soul is going to guide you to the right people. And you also don't have to think of it as your match forever. You will be changing. They will be changing. You know, teachers come and go in different ways. Some we keep for a long period of time. So you want to feel a settledness. You want to feel open. You want to feel safe, like all parts of you are welcome to come forward and be worked with. And you want someone who is clearly living a whole practitioner life, that all parts of their life are tended towards, are built towards impeccability, are built towards cleanliness. We can't have a spiritual practice contained in one part of life and then the rest of life just be this total shit show, you know? So you want to feel into it. How does your body feel? Talk to them, ask them questions. Are they open to having some questions? You know, within the boundaries of what's an appropriate amount of time and energy. And it's okay to jump in with someone and give it a try without being 100% committed. The only person you should ever be completely unquestionably committed to is your own soul. Everybody else, there's a negotiation. So if you feel any red flags, any pullback, any contraction, please don't ignore that. Sit with it. See if there's something in your past that you're working through or if this is actually about the other person. But you want somebody who is a good person, who's going to support you, and who is clearly walking the walk. And you can see it throughout their whole life. I come from a place of feeling very strongly about ethics. I'm a deeply ethical being. I was born in the year of the dog, and I'm a Virgo. And so, you know, what is my base level okay point may be different for other people. I'm like very, very high. But I also think that we should all hold that standard and expect people who are teaching us to also be living their teachings as best as they can. We're all human. And that's the other piece. We all are human, and you want a teacher who isn't going to hold themselves as up on a sparkling mountaintop or better or holier than thou. The new dimension is all about being fully human in your life, imperfect, while also being fully divine. Okay. So many questions. This is exciting. Okay. Moving towards hypnotherapy, any thought? That feels like a step towards something else. Like, follow it as long as it feels right, but it feels like it's going to transmute into a slightly different version, or you'll use that in service of something else. It's like part of the picture is what it feels like. Scarlet Amber got that they don't need stuff. This is true. It's a good one to sit with. Everything you have is in you. You are allowed to ask personal questions. Mindful Mama. Thank you for asking. Couldn't see. Rachel had an encounter with an opossum yesterday that did not feel random. Does Spirit ever send signs? Yes. At different levels of our development, signs are more present than others. And signs are really a tool for the ego and a way to work. And one thing to think of is that signs are everywhere all of the time. It's just, does the ego tune into it at that moment? And if you're feeling, this might be a sign, feel in your body. Does that truth expand in you, or does something contract or feel off, or like, Feel the body feeling, not the mental story. I will say that opossum is traditionally, at least in North America, my understanding, for many groups is seen as the medicine of sort of innocence and play, and sort of the reminder of like, hey, don't take yourself so seriously, for what it's worth. Oh, Megan, any info on the pandemic? Are we nearly over it? Oh, no. Sorry. I want to have good news on this. The good news is we're acclimating. The good news is the pandemic is doing exactly what it needs to do, which is stir the crap out of this pot, instigate a lot of purging, offer a portal for a bunch of souls who are scheduled to leave, and creating a lot of space for new ideas. There are a lot of functions to this pandemic. It is going to lighten in its impact in the spring. By March, we're going to have some new perspectives on how to work with it, how to treat it, how to live with it. But this pandemic has opened up a whole chapter in human history that is just beginning. And it is a chapter that is going to have us moving in and out of different kinds of restriction, revelation, challenge. So we are going to more deeply adapt to it. A new normal will settle in more. I feel like we're still, even though we are in a new normal, we're still energetically in this very transitional place where most of the population still hasn't fully accepted that we're not going back. And we have to keep holding space for that because we're not going back. That's just not possible anymore. It hasn't been possible for a very long time now. And as I've said before, this pandemic is just the first challenge of a series of things that will shake our systems and push us into radically different directions than we were moving in before. When will your children come to this earth, unearthed dreamer? There is a lot there. And the answer spirit is bringing forward is when you feel truly ready, which is pointing towards, I see this visual, it's like pointing towards this stuff that is like super subterranean. There are these little threads that are wanting to still align, that are being ignored. So look at what is it that's being denied or ignored within yourself, separate from this particular topic in your life. Go to that place of truth, and from that it will start to unfold. What is my next step, mindful mama? Your next step. Interesting. Well, what came forward is your next step is to stop. And it's like a very blunt energy. Stop. I get the sense that there's something that you are persisting in, stringing along, continuing, that is an energetic drain. And the next step is to stop that, redirect, recontain yourself, and move from that place. It's a very blunt cutoff though. Stop. What spiritual energetic blocks do I have? So you have a lot of conditioning that is kind of piled on top of you that creates this sort of back and forth insecurity around your own intuition. And in that, it's like your ego is trying to fill space and draws distractions, disresonant people, habits that you're not even fulfilled by anymore. It's these little things, but it's a desire to hide a little bit from yourself. So sit with that. Because when you stop hiding from yourself, and again, going back to the whatever is being denied, getting into those truths, everything sort of opens up. I don't really see it as like major blocks. Usually what's happening with people is things are a little disconnected or layered over with conditioning, so the ego can't consciously connect. And that's what I see with you. Notebook recipes. Am I meant to be a fully open channel? Yes. We all are, in one way or another. The act of channeling, as we talk about it, or we see it here, yes. If that is something you desire, absolutely. That is open to you. In New Paradigm, we don't have these sort of step-by-step blueprints that we talk about in Old Paradigm. It is a place of pure potential. Being here on planet and being fully, unrestrainedly you, that's the task. And then there's so many options to how that unfolds. You know, I could have manifested as a channel in many different ways. I happen to be at the moment doing this social media thing and building portals and doing energy work and medicine work, and it takes these forms. But it doesn't mean that I was predestined to only take those forms. Those were options to express that of being a truth speaker and healer. Does that make sense? And that also means that you're free to explore and to make your own thing. Most of us are here to make our own thing out of what already exists and that which we're bringing in from our dimension of origin. Play. Have fun. I dabble between Pleiadian and Sirius connection and would like to connect more to my true star roots. So star roots are a little bit of a tricky thing. We have our energetic roots, so the dimension you came here from directly. The being that decided, hey, I want to go play the Earth game, and then emanated here and started running its cycle of lifetimes. That's your dimension of origin. That's where the star family that we talk about is rooted. So my star family, we would talk about being, or my primary star family, is rooted in a 12th dimensional Arcturian collective. But we are more than one lifetime. And here on the Earth plane, we're designed to be a mesh of different lifetimes. So I also have these really strong 5th dimensional Sirian energies that are woven into my design that work with this Arcturian energy. But we also have our physical bodies. And our physical bodies are carrying codes from lots of different groups. Earth is this fantastic, bursting, diverse place, not by accident. And so we have our energetic codes, and then we have the physical codes that we might be carrying that make one a little more Syrian or Lyran or Arcturian. There's so many groups without names. So what it feels like you're really hungry for is to connect with your dimension of origin, that feeling of I want to go home. I want to know my family. I want to fit. And so with that, you want to continue to do the work of dropping into yourself, your truth, dropping the conditioning, right? Like that clear line gives you access to all information. And start to speak to your star family openly, out loud, you know, cooking, laying in bed, taking a shower, just start talking. And at some point, you're gonna feel them answer back. It may be something very clear, like an impression in the mind. You might feel like goosebumps on the arms, or a sudden warm feeling, or bursting into tears, laughter, yawning. There's so many ways. It's any kind of shift. And then the inclination, was that them? That questioning is the sign that was them. And it will start off for many very, very subtly. But for you in particular, I would say getting away from other people. You want to get a nice open, clear field. Go into nature, be with trees, really root yourself. Spend time just pouring yourself into the earth, and then open up to the conversation with your star family. And I suspect that they're going to start coming through more clearly. You have a lot of Pleiadian energies that are wanting to be more conscious and active within you. And that heart work that so many Pleiadians come in to do and to offer feels really activated in you right now. So go towards that. And you'll probably have some unshed tears to work through initially. How can I better discern between the ego and the spirit? Hold on, y'all. I'm going to turn a light on real quick. Okay. Ego and spirit. So once you figure out the discernment, it's actually quite easy. Spirit is a yesness, a relaxing. Spirit does not create a constriction. Spirit also never judges, never castigates. Spirit isn't even that insistent. Spirit's not going to scream at you to do something. It is consistent, it can be firm, but it stays within this pretty narrow range. And spirit isn't wordy. It's a yes, no, this way, go that way, not in this manner, like little direct statements. Ego likes to get involved. It likes to pull story in. Spirit doesn't do a lot of explaining and psychological stuff. So if anything is making you feel smaller, nervous, constricted, like you did something wrong or you need to discipline yourself, all of that is always ego. Spirit has nothing but unconditional, bursting love. Imagine a parent who is just infinitely proud and accepting and loving of everything that you do. Even when you totally screw up, Spirit's like, sweetie, I see you. You tried. Right on. We're going to open up another opportunity. So start to work with that. It's really noticing the ways that ego tries to get in there. And even for myself, I have, very well trained discernment, and there's still moments sometimes where I'm out of my center and I have to pause for a moment and be like, wait, was that spirit? And then I'll look a little closer and be like, oh, I see the little thread of judgment there. That was not spirit, that was ego. So just keep practicing and default to whatever feels right to you. And just remember, spirit is always neutral to loving. It's never going to try and make you feel constricted or smaller in any way. I love it when people say that I feel like family to them or I'm familiar. It's funny, in this TikTok process, I kind of look through and keep an eye on the activity, and I see people's little avatars and especially their names. There are certain ones that'll just like I notice, and I have, a few thousand followers, so there's a lot of names that are flying through. But there's certain ones that I see, I'm like, I think you might be resurfacing in one way or another later. And then many of those people have now come to have sessions with me. And I'm hoping that many of you will feel called to come and circle up in Patreon. Okay. I'll be visiting Europe as well. Yes, I am, Maria Luisa, planning to visit Europe. Europe is actually where I'm looking at building my intentional community, my physical little eco village, which is a whole other conversation. So next summer, I am probably going to be spending a few weeks in Spain and Italy, traveling around, doing some channeling, maybe looking at some spots that might feel like a good place to put down some roots, because it's time to leave the States for me. Yes, I do have connections to Arcturus. Sorry, there are so many things flying through. I'm probably missing some here. So identifying particular star seed families is something I'm not going to sit into here today. It does require a little bit of a different container. There are so many people right now who are like clamoring with that energy. It's harder for me to cut through. But we can talk about star families more in the future. I really encourage anyone who's curious about star family to first go inward. You all have those answers, and I want us all to start practicing turning inward and creating space and speaking aloud to the spirits, because you're all able to tune in to the all that is. Part of why I'm showing up in your life right now might be to help you start doing that more. Start anchoring your own intuition, building your skills. Because y'all are a super skilled group of people. There's so many psychic, intuitive gifts floating in this circle right now. It's just starting to tune it and to have a little support to confirm, to move conditioning a bit, doing those sorts of things so you can get really steady and feel a confidence in your skills. Maria Luisa, you're in Greece. I almost came to Greece in the spring. It was so close. I needed to get back to my child though. I don't like people to tell me to only ask God because God is source and spirits are source. I'm not sure I quite fully understand the point. I mean, God outward or God inward? It's all one thing, really, right? Some people are still more comfortable looking outward, and that's okay. We just want to be aware of our divinity. It's the same thing with star families and spirit guides. In the end, all of those are emanations of your own soul, right? They're not actually separate. I look like I have makeup on and I don't. Sorry. Funny moment. Yeah. Thank you for all of the likes and love. Any more questions? Thank you, Desiree. For those of you, I have messages. I'm seeing Desiree, I'm reminded of this. I have messages that are partially formed or owed to several of you, and I'm still catching up with my email. Technology is challenging for me, and I do not subscribe to the culture of constant contact, immediate response. It's not great for me. So I can be a little slow sometimes to respond, and also I like to percolate a little and feel the spirit alignment and what might come through in dreams. So I will get back to all of you. Thank you for being so patient with me. I've always felt really drawn to dragons. Have you sensed that dragon energy exists? Yeah, what we call dragons, that energy definitely exists. I know a very potent dragon woman. I know a few dragon people. You know, the things that we have on this planet, all of the things that we have imagined and built stories of, in one way or another are rooted in some seed of truth. Sometimes it's a very distant seed, sometimes it's very close to what we've imagined. Dragons are a particular kind of what we could call reptilian energy. They're a very ancient group within this galaxy system. And I have noticed they remind me a little bit of fairy energy, actually, and that they're both very intense. Dragons in some ways can be a little more like protective, maternal than a fairy is. Dragons like to have something that they care for. But that's my experience of it. And I have not done a lot of channeling of dragon energy. I think only once have I had a dragon consciousness come through. And that was for my son. One of his guides came through in dragon form. Yeah. I'm so glad that this has been good for you, Deja Vu 7. Spiritual empath, did you invite me to join? I might have by accident. I've been scrolling through, and I think maybe sometimes I accidentally touch things I don't mean to. So if you did not intend to be here, I'm sorry that I distracted you, but I am so glad that you're here right now, spiritual empath. I'm still working on this live thing. I am so glad that we're all here together. So I'm feeling called to sing a bull song. Let's see here. We can keep flowing with questions if they're coming through, but I feel an energy wanting to communicate itself through. Okay. So everyone ground. This is a song for heart opening, a little bit of clearing, to connect us with light and the fact that we are all here on purpose, that we all have a central sun that shines. And when we relax and allow it to shine, all of creation is touched by this and blessed by it. That we are a part of flow, a force of nature, of life that moves through its cycles and its flowerings. espera en las plantas bajo el fuego, bajo agua. Escondido en tu interior, es tiempo ya. Ahora ábrete, corazón, y recuerda que el espíritu cura. Amor sana, el árbol florece y la vida verdura. Que llegará yo. Ay, qué primer ser humano. Okay. Get a little more light in here. Power of the laptop. Okay. I got really expansive with that. That is a song that comes out of the Pucallpa area of Peru. It's a medicine song. And it is widely recorded and spread around the internet, which is part of why it feels okay to share it here. It's such a powerful tool, though. Okay, so where are we with questions? Many of us have been sleep deprived for weeks. You're in good company, Barb. So for those who are kind of new to Ascension, it's really just the process of spiritual awakening in the body. So many of our traditions for thousands of years have been focused on what awakening is in the awareness, in our understanding. But the work now, for some of us, not all, but for some of us, is to bring that into the physical body. And our systems, our cells, the way we're anchored into the energetic grid is all changing and upgrading very quickly in service of anchoring a different dimensional layer on top of the old paradigm, that which we were born into. We're building something new, what some people call New Earth, and it coexists with the old paradigm. But if you are going through Ascension, you are in one way or another anchored, tethered, tied to the new dimension or New Earth. And so your body goes through these influxes of light and upgrades. Just think of it as like computer programs being downloaded into you and upgrading. And sometimes that means we have big bursts of creativity and fun and excitement in our lives unfolding, and sometimes that means we're exhausted or have flu-like symptoms or can't sleep or are reliving all of the old energies that are leaving our systems as we're upgrading. So for the equinox, it's just a big portal day, and being such a portal day, it's a great opportunity to bring in what you're wanting in your life. Prayers are extra potent. The ability to drop stuff, to transmute things, to burn off the old is easier. And it also gives us this reminder to stop and to pause and to reconnect with spirit and take stock of the season that is past and the season that is coming. So whatever supports you in doing that, and marking it with some tiny little ritual, whatever feels good to you. Might be just lighting a candle and baking some bread, or reading a book you love and listening to music and dancing. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be an obvious like witch's ritual. But mark the time and let your conscious self know you're not only going through a big change process overall, but this week we have been building up to it for weeks. We've not been sleeping well. There's a big shift happening on the planet, and you're tied to that shift. So you're going to be feeling that. So just hold a lot of compassion for yourself in that process. Okay. Do you believe in divine counterparts? Okay, so what I believe in is a concept that I like to call divine partnership. So in the old paradigm, we have these ideas of like soulmates or twin flames or people we're meant to be with. In new paradigm, new earth, like everything else, there are a lot of choices and options. So it's really about frequency match, because we're all the same thing, right? You're a drop of God, they're a drop of God, every person around you is a drop of God. And so it's just about where is there a design and frequency match for where you are in your life right now. And sometimes you come together and that's it, you're together forever for the rest of your life. And sometimes it takes many other forms. Divine partnership doesn't equal must last for the entirety of your life. And that can be difficult for some people who are still working within the conditioning of a soulmate, that you're working towards some perfect match that was meant for you. Spirit is so excited to give you so many experiences and things in your life that are meant for you. But it isn't just a one-to-one, right? So divine partnership at this point is most easily identified by someone who helps amplify your work in the world. So in relationship to each other, the signal will be that you feel like you receive more from them than you give. And you'll both feel that way, which is just magical. And there will be this quality of sort of getting quieter and more settled into yourself, more clear in your path and your work. And each of you will be strengthened in your respective purpose work by being in relation to each other. We are just starting to move into the period of time where new dimensional healers are ready to start entering into romantic relationships, family relationships, sexual relationships with each other. And those are going to take many different forms. We're going to start inventing different kinds of relationships. We already are inventing different kinds of relationships. And so there's going to be a few years where we're figuring that out in a really fresh way. And divine partnership is already happening. It's always been something at play on the planet, but it's really starting to pop. And a lot of us are going to start entering into relationships that are really amplifying us, teaching us. Even if it turns out that person isn't the person we're going to be with long term, we're going to start entering into these relationships, or having the opportunity to, where it spiritually amplifies us, where we're not expected to make ourselves smaller or quiet some part. All of the weird, all of the wonderful will be invited forward. And in fact, none of us really, ideally, should be tolerating anything less than our whole selves being loved and accepted, because each one of us is so magical, so fantastic, and we are each a drop of divinity. If that doesn't feel true to your partner, then that's not the partner for you. That should be the baseline. Okay. I heard the native phrase two spirits from a dream early, and I had to look it up. Two spirits is a really wonderful concept, and it takes different forms through different tribal communities. But it is this idea of there being two spirits, masculine and feminine, coexisting within one being, and they're seen as seers and blessed people. They're often touched as medicine people or great leaders in their community. They're creative portals. And so some people correlate that with folks who are transgendered, and there is overlap, and there are places where it's different, but I love that that's showing up for you. And it's really interesting the different ways that that concept can take form within us, both literally and as a metaphor. So I'm curious how that unfolds for you. I think any relationship I now seek is going to be for the collective and for all. Rock on. Because not only does that serve the collective, most importantly, that's going to serve you, right? It cannot serve the collective if it is not the best match for you. It doesn't work that way. It has to start here. Amber, thanks for being here. Bye. Okay. So, are there any more questions? I think I'm going to stay another 10 minutes. And then I am gonna have a personal dance party and play with my cats. This is the week that my son is with his dad, so that's what we do. Yeah, this has been a big transition, and I can feel such an energetic shift from when we first came in an hour and a half ago. It's really interesting to feel how we are becoming more of a collective, more and more, just in these last 2 months that I've been on TikTok and starting to connect with some of you. I can feel sometimes when particular people have watched a video, and it's like I'm looped in more and more with you all, and it's really lovely to keep deepening that and getting creative with each other and how we can continue to grow and learn from each other. I can feel someone crying in a good way. It's good to let it flow. We're so trained to hold it back. I always pop up when somebody needs a pep talk. Mara FP, I'm so glad. I love the way that that happens in this reality. For me, that's one of the great joys of humaning, is that sort of spiritual choreography where spirit will just move things or people into place at just the moment. And if The more we relax into it, the more we can witness the sacred choreography at play. I'm glad that I can be a part of that for you. Oh, Desmond, I would love to hear all about how my videos have been rippling out. That sounds lovely. I'm so glad that you're finding ways to actively be of service right now. Let's see. Darling disgruntled emu. Just love that name. Any thoughts on seeing figures when transitioning between sleep and awake? Do you mean physically seeing them or with like your psychic vision? I'll wait for your answer. Because those are two similar but different things. In that place, that intertidal zone between sleeping and waking, we are so rooted in spirit. We are really blended human and spirit, which is why so many people encourage to do brain programming and whatnot in that window physically, but then I blink and they disappear. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let me just tune into you for a second. That'll be easier. Yes. So you have a pretty significant clairvoyant structure in place. And it feels like you have some awareness in working with that, but it really wants to open up. So you're starting to upgrade to the point where now when you're in that really rooted, settled, both spirit and human place between sleep and wake, your abilities are much more active and able to be perceived by the ego consciousness. But because you're in that transition, it comes and it goes. So you are seeing beings. We're always surrounded by beings. And that's something that can take some getting used to as we become more aware. A lot of us have been programmed to feel creeped out when we feel another presence in the room. But we are always surrounded by so many beings. There are so many realities that are overlaying this one. They're just doing their whole own thing unaware of us. So depending on where your frequency is moment to moment, you may be tuning into different levels of reality. What I'm sensing with you is you're tuning into home beings, your beings that are dear to you and tend to you, and beings of your home space. So you can say hi. That's really it. And just notice that feeling. And you can start to expand that bubble of awareness by as you're transitioning in. And this is something for us all to do. As you're transitioning into wakefulness, the moment you're conscious enough to have the thought, go ahead and consciously bring your energy through the crown into the body and run it through. You're telling the ego, I am anchoring my full energetic self into my body, into my life. And that helps to expand awareness and skillfulness with the gifts. Yes, welcome them. Say hello. And sometimes we also, this happens with me because my particular light can bring some moths, as I like to say. Those spirits who are like a little lost and are like, I don't know what I'm doing or what's happening. I'm stuck in the in-between place. And they see the beacon of my light and they're like, you. So sometimes I wake up and there are lost spirits in my house. I'm like, yeah, you can't stay, sweetie. And in those cases, or if it's any spirit you kind of just want more space from, just expand your light. Just create more space. You know, it's your body, so they can't crowd in, right? So just create more space. And that will also give your ego awareness more feeling of security and containment. Okay. So, are there any easily sourced plants in the States you would recommend for a first time minor dieta? So I am a big fan. I do a lot of dieta here in the States myself, but I am a big fan of dieting local plants. So there are things that you can get access to. Most of it is shipped in and not grown locally. But you could do, if you wanted a jungle plant to do a dieta with, you can get mapacho. You can grow your own mapacho, which is a lovely practice. That is a really strong one and can be really flexible and supportive in many ways. But working with your local plants means you're deepening your energetic connection to the environment around you, and you're starting to build relationships with the spirits that are healing in your immediate environment. So I live in Northern California. The plants I have dieted from this area are redwood, stinging nettle, rosemary. I did a rose diet, white sage, mugwort. So I've done a lot of local plants, and that has been amazing for me and my practice and my deepening with the plants. You know, we have a certain terroir, we have the flavors of our environment, and the jungle plants are heavenly and fantastic and so powerful and steeped in energies and history. But our local plants are as well. So go towards what calls to you. I think there's also the piece of your intuition knows what you really need. So start to just feel what might be drawing to you. And that also goes with plants from the Amazon. If there's something in particular that's really drawing you, feel into what those medicines might be. You can look and see. I would do search for people holding dietas in your local area. There are practitioners who do that and hold like an actual isolation diet. Some that do social dietas. But start to see what's around. And you may be able to source Amazonian plants that way. But the only one that I know of that is easy to access in a good fresh way is mapacho, or jungle tobacco. I know people who have flown in uña de gato and sanango drops, but both of those is kind of a hassle and the quality is hit or miss. So I myself don't have great resources for bringing Amazonian plants in for dieta. For those who don't know, what we're talking about are shamanic plant diets, where you enter into an agreement with a master teacher plant, a spirit that then works on you physically. You take it in, drink or smoke or some version, and then you're in deep meditation and learning with that particular plant's medicines, both metaphorical and physical. And traditional practitioners, curanderos, shamans, they observe these plant diets as their main training, as sort of building their tool belt. It's at the heart of many forms of Amazonian herbalism, and it's a key of my personal spiritual practice. Yes, before bed we notice the spirits filling our rooms. I get that too. Dieta, I could talk about dieta forever. I might do all dieta combo on my ayahuasca channel, Condorcita. I'm trying to like create a space for that because it's like that just wants to explode, and we have a lot going on this channel too. I am crazy for dieta. John told lime tree once, can I do it with lime tree leaves? Yes, and actually for lime, a really nice one, and we're entering into that season, could be to work with the blossoms. A nice flower essence, making your own is really fun. I did that one year. But you can use the leaves, my understanding, and double check because I haven't worked with lime directly, but I'm pretty sure lime leaves are used in flavoring for cooking. So look into it and see what is the best way just biochemically, but you can use the leaves. Love telling more about dieta, yes. Well, as other questions are streaming in, I will say more about dieta in this moment, which is, dieta is not a part of all Amazonian ayahuasca traditions, but the ones that are really present in the north right now tend to lean in that direction. And it is the real work of this form of shamanism, of curanderismo, because it changes everything in the body. So we have all these energetic things that are happening, but if we just get into the nitty gritty of like biochemical change, you're changing your gut biome because there's this very restricted diet of all things, not just food, but everything you take in is brought down way low to low stimulus. So the language of the plants, the spirits, can become amplified. And so you're changing your diet for extended periods of time. Sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's a year. And different traditions have different things that are excluded, but you're changing your chemistry with that. You are also bringing in these really powerful bioactive compounds. You know, you're drinking really concentrated teas, you're putting salves on, or doing these steams. But this is how you access the medicine, this pharmacy of the Amazon, is taking these teas every day, all day, washing through, going and just saturating your body with these medicines. And so it works on all levels of the being, and it is easiest to do in isolation. I have a cat who's meowing at the door, so just 1 minute, I'll be right back. She's just gonna keep going. Okay. So that is the really deep, full body medicine, empowerment, cleanse, everything. And each plant has, its particular physical, spiritual, energetic medicines to offer and to teach. And then once you've built that relationship, you've completed the dieta, you observe a post-diet also that is more restrained. You're continuing to keep the senses quiet as it all integrates and anchors. Then you are changed forever. You've basically married that plant. You're in this non-monogamous relationship with this profound teacher and can always access them and their medicines. Sometimes, I'll be talking to someone who is suddenly coming to me in crisis, and the very first thing I do is silently I will call in the redwoods for them, because they circle up, they're very tied together, they have this intertwining root system, and they have really strong upright spines. And there are people who have actually felt like the rush of that damp, cool forest feeling when I'm just silently calling in these trees. And so it's really handy to have these as an energetic practitioner working on a planet covered in plants. You can also diet stones. I once dieted Himalayan quartz, which was quite the journey. Okay, so I guess I have reached that final 10 minutes mark, even though I just want to keep going. We'll schedule a medicine chat. So anyone who has not followed my ayahuasca education account, it is up, and I have a video announcing it on my profile. My name is @Condorcita, so Condor, CITA, like a little condor, Condorcita. But you'll find the link in my profile, and I'm really looking forward to having more conversations, more in-depth conversations about plant medicine and ayahuasca and spirituality and the sort of minutiae of Amazonian spiritual practices there. It actually expands beyond the Amazon, most certainly. But I am a super medicine nerd, and I'm wanting community nerd out with there. So it overlaps. It's not separate or contradictory to what we're doing here. It just wants a lot of space. And not everybody wants to be in a conversation about plant medicines, and that's okay too. Thank you for the dance party wishes. Thank you for everyone who showed up, the big work you did, the holding of the prayer, waiting for this time to arrive. And thanks for your support and your love. And I would not be here doing this if it wasn't for you and your beautiful hearts, and the fact that I heard you calling out in the ethers. So yeah, thank you. And if you feel called to join me on Patreon, please do. I can't wait for all of that fun to start. And even if it doesn't feel like time to join membership, keep an eye there, because there is a flow of writings and videos that are happening there and are going to continue to grow. So I love you all so much. Thank you. I'm just going to send you a burst of heart energy real quick here. Thank you to all of those who just sent me a big dose of love. I felt it. Message received. Okay. Thank you for your presence. Good night, everyone.